we want to thank the City of Wilder for allowing us to use this facility. So the way we do this is we have about a 10-15 minute little business meeting here. We have to do the minutes and the treasurer's report and all that kind of stuff. So you have to bear with us through that, and then we'll get right on to the real reason you're here. So Richard, can you do the minutes from last month?
On June 13th, we gathered at the shelter at Highland Heights for our annual picnic. Enjoyed a beautiful day. 6 o'clock, the Chalk Brothers began playing some music while everybody grabbed a plate or two of food to enjoy. Then about 6:43, Steve started the business meeting. I read the minutes. Steve gave the treasurer's report with an ending balance of $7,842.86. I read the report on the recent donations. Jan Lester reported 286 members currently, but a few more had come into the office, hadn't been processed yet. And she had just sent the renewal letters for those who hadn't renewed yet, just a little reminder she sends out. The next newsletter will be out at the end of August, so if anybody has any articles, get them to Jan by about August 1st. The tech sponsorship for anybody interested is $50 a year, but that includes your membership. So just contact us if anybody's interested in that. Shirlene had given Steve information that the Veterans Report had added 90 more in May, and that the total was 15,590, which is just incredible. Steve reported that the website, our Historical Society website, had been updated with current information. And then some real unfortunate news, the Taylor Mansion is for sale again after somebody had purchased it, and they were going to have big plans open to the public, but they painted it all white and it's now for sale again, so who knows what will happen with that. He then briefly touched on the Volunteer of the Year Award, and then discussed future meetings. Tonight here in Wilder, August we'll meet at the Bellevue Eagles. In September, we'll have essay contest winners here in Wilder. At that point, it was back to the music and back to food, and that was it for June.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Richard. Glenn, you want to run through a treasurer's report?
We opened with $7,827.96. Had 10 member renewals, $109 in donations, $190 in book sales. Kroger donations were $133.88. Had a renewal of a technology sponsor, and our income was $604.26. We purchased picnic supplies, postage, and award for our Volunteer of the Year. Paid the copier lease and music for the picnic. So our expenses were $628.60. Closed with $7,803.62.
Excellent. Thank you, Glenn. Richard, you want to come back up and do... Richard does double duty here. All our gifts and donations.
Steve had received a copy of the book, The Riverboat to Steamboatman by Don Sanders, who spoke with us a few months ago, so we now have a copy of his book. Pam Casebolt donated us a cookbook, Betty Crocker's picture cookbook, which looks like it's from the 50s or 60s. Sharon Piccarillo donated a brick from A.J. Jolly School, which will go into our school history collection, which is ever growing. And tonight, Steve told me that Donna Gray gave us some posters from A.J. Jolly Park when they had their 60th annual reunion. They had some posters out, so that they now belong to us. And then just tonight, a lady came in and gave me some paperwork that her father had worked on years ago, a box on the desk, so we'll be processing that and see what that is.
Good. Jan is out of town, so the 3 hats that she wears, she's not going to cover. But on membership, at our board meeting, she announced that we are at or over 300 right now of membership. So that was our goal for this year, was to hit 300, and so we did that. The newsletter, she needs She needs articles by the end of next month to go out on the next newsletter. With that, Charlene, you want to cover?
I don't have anything on the essay contest, but I do have some information about our veterans collection. For the month of June, there were 199 veterans added to the collection.
Oh my gosh.
Bringing the total to 15,789. And for those of you who are maybe new, we have a sheet that you can fill out for one of your ancestors or a current veteran, and that gets added to our collection. And as a side note, she brought candy. If I don't get a piece of candy, yeah, I'm coming after you.
Stage left. Just a couple of notes. I think we said we reprinted a couple of our books, the 1883 Atlas that we do. We ran out of them. That's probably the most popular book we sell. And so we've had that reprinted. And Charlene's new book that she did for her master's program, she sold out of those right away, so we did reprint those as well. I know this is only July, but they had a meeting before this meeting. We are planning for our Christmas tree fundraiser this year. Pleased to announce that we are expanding it. We're going to do it in Alexandria like we have done, but we filled the whole lawn down there in Alexandria, and it is absolutely stunning. And now the city of Wilder has agreed to let us do it upstairs here, so they will be all along Route 9 here. And Sheila and Sharon and Tom are in charge of that. I don't know what all came from their meeting tonight, but I have a feeling flyers are going to be coming out very soon, and people can start ordering the trees, and then we'll get that all set. It's really neat. They're up for the whole month of December. They're lit every night. We have a tree lighting ceremony for each one of them, where we do, we bring coffee and hot chocolate and cookies and candies and cook all sorts of stuff. And it's pretty exciting to do. And then it's interesting. Mark, what was it? The first year we sold 14 trees, I think, in Alexandria. The second year we sold 28 trees. Last year we were over 50 trees. So it is really growing, and that's why we're expanding to Wilder now. And the idea is eventually to take it to every one of the cities in this county. We just have to have the people to do it. Fortunately, these three stepped forward and said they would do Wilder. Next would be to take it up north even further, okay? There's a Route 27 antique mall that's opening down in the shopping center down there in the old Tuesday morning site. And when you go in there, I don't think he's open yet, but when you go in there, you're gonna see the aisle markers are going to have names of Campbell County citizens in there, and we provided all those names for them. They called and asked if we would do that, so we did. The only other thing I have is, I think last month we talked about a crazy quilt that was donated to us. This thing goes back, it's got GAR ribbons on it, so it goes back to 1888 on there. It even has a ribbon from Benjamin Harrison's election when he ran against Grover Cleveland for the presidency. So that gives you an idea how far back it goes. But some of the silk pieces on it are deteriorating. So I called the National Quilt Museum, and they said, we only deal with contemporary quilts, nothing that old. But they gave me the name of a woman in Lexington who is a quilt consultant and an appraiser. So I'm going to be contacting her, and she's going to come up here and tell us how to restore it and how to keep it stabilized. There's no backing on it right now. I don't know if she'll say put backing on it or don't put backing on it. I don't know, but the historical value of this thing is just incredible. So we want to make sure it gets taken care of properly. So that's coming. I'll call her tomorrow and schedule her. That's the only thing I have on all this mundane stuff. Who wants to talk about candy and ice cream? I think that's what you're here for, isn't it? So let me introduce Kelly and Tim. Should we talk about Jack?
I think he's the most important guy.
I'm retired.
And Dad's here too. He's retired now, but he's here as well. So I'm going to turn this over to them and let them talk to us about the 85-year legacy of Schneider Sweet Shop down in Bellevue.
Hi, I'm Tim Morgan, Kelly's husband, Jack's son-in-law, and Steve sold us a bill of goods. He said there'd be like 15 people here. So I know everybody came for the free candy, but those in Matt rush out the door. But genuinely, thank you so much. We are so flattered. I speak for the whole family that this many people have this much interest in our little business, and it is so cool. It means a lot to us. So thank you very much.
You're up.
Hi, I'm Kelly, Jack's youngest daughter. There's two of us, or three of us. I don't know life not in a candy store. Like when you're a kid, you're so excited to go to the candy store and go get ice cream. That was the norm for me. Like we used to beg for carrots. Like we got all the candy and ice cream we wanted. Yeah, I don't remember not having a candy store. We grew up in Bellevue. We went to Sacred Heart, which became St. Michael's. We lived in Bellevue till I was about 11, and then we moved out to Cold Spring, but we always stayed in Bellevue schools. So Mom and Dad would drop us off. After school, we'd walk down to the candy store. We'd go upstairs because Grandma and Grandpa lived on top of the candy store. We'd hang out with Grandma and Grandpa. They'd make us dinner. Mom and Dad would come up for dinner. They'd go back downstairs, and then around, I guess, 9 o'clock, we'd drive back to Cold Spring. We did it every single day. When we were little, we were always at the store. So all of our cups come in these big, ginormous cardboard boxes. They would cut the cardboard box tops off, and we would play in the boxes. Like I played in cardboard boxes in the back of a candy store growing up. And it's really cool because Tim and I have a 5-year-old, and now he does it, and it's kind of like, it's so fun. I'm like, look, you're in a cardboard box. It's so funny. And when you're a kid, you never think you're gonna do what your parents did. Like you just don't. I definitely did not. Like if you would have asked me even 15 years ago, like yes, I would never. I mean, I watched how hard he worked and Mom worked, and I'm like, I will never do that.
I'm shocked when she asked me about it.
Oh, that's how it went. But yeah, it's so special, and I think what makes it so special, and the reason that Tim and I decided to buy it was, it's our legacy. It's our family legacy, and there's nothing I enjoy more than hearing stories. Like that is the best. When people come in and they're like, I grew up, and this is what I did, and this is, I bring my kids and my grandkids. We work a lot, so I'm in the front of the store a lot, so I get to hear all these stories, and it's really, really special. So thank you guys very much, because we wouldn't be here without you guys. And sometimes when you have the days when you've worked, a 14-hour shift, especially at Christmas time, because the one thing I learned when you're in business, when people call off, you're the one that works. So we work a lot. Sometimes our 5-year-old is in the back. We've got pictures of him sleeping on packing peanuts, because at Christmas time, he sleeps on packing peanuts, and we work till 10, 11. But hearing, how much people love Schneiders and how important it is to their holidays and their traditions, it makes all of it so worth it. So it's a lot of fun.
In all honesty, I warned.
You did. So we started talking, we'll do a little brief history. So Grandpa started the store in 1939 with Grandma. He was 18, she was 17. They were not married yet. It's actually really cool. So we started doing this whole timeline. There's a lot of gaps because Dad was the second youngest of 7 kids. So he didn't get a lot of the stories, and some of the older brothers and sisters at this point don't remember some of the things. So we did a lot of research, especially in the last couple of weeks, and Tim's mom is genealogy, what would you say? Freak. Sure, we'll use that word. And we were like, we need to find some history and some timeline. Can you help us? She's like, I'm on it. So she's been doing all this kind of research. So we actually have a really cool timeline now. So 1939, that's when Schneider's opened. And we actually have some pictures over here of what Schneider's looked like when it opened. It's kind of the same, but actually very different. But so 1939, they got married in 1941. 1942, they had Bob Schneider. 1943, they had Carol, Dad's sister. Then he enlisted in the Army, so he left. So 1945, We don't know exactly how long he was gone. We're thinking 1.5 to 2 years, but obviously during war times, there was a shortage of sugar. So they had to change all the recipes up and use beet sugar in order to continue to make candy. And we're not 100% sure who was running the store. We think it was obviously Grandma and then Grandpa's brothers.
No, one won the Army, one won the Navy, and I think the younger brothers are the ones who kind of worked it a little bit while they were gone with Mom and Bill's wife, because it was kind of a family thing when it first started. And then my dad was the only one who knew how to make candy, so it petered down to where he was the one who did it. He did it all.
Go ahead. Do you want to hear the Navy story? Because it's actually really funny. So, are you any of you who's familiar with Bill's in Latonia? So apparently everybody in our family does candy and makes candy. So Aunt Carol, and was it the 50s? When did she?
That's probably 60s.
Okay, the 60s, opened up a little candy store with her husband in Latonia.
40th and course.
Oh, wow, you remember the address.
I can buy it.
Nice. Didn't own it very long. Uncle Bill bought it, turned it into Bill's in Latonia. So that was open until 86. In 86, he closed that down and came and worked with Dad at Schneider's. Little brief history on that. So Uncle Bill was very, he knew how to make candy, he knew how to make ice cream. That's what he did, but just on a very much smaller scale. And the rule was is if you started anything with candy or ice cream outside of Schneider's, you could not have any of the recipes. So when Uncle Bob started his store, when Carol started her store, you did not get the secret recipes. You had to come up with your own recipes or buy an existing store and take their recipes. So this is just a funny story about Uncle Bill.
Yeah, he was in the Navy, and he was back then he was a cook. And he did all the cook for the whole ship that they were on. So he made ice cream, which he makes ice cream he made ice cream all the time up there. He made ice cream, the whole ship came down with, what do you call that, when they get sick from listeria, tummy poisoning, whatever it is, including the captain of the ship. So he was in a bit of trouble.
Not our recipes, I assure you, not our recipes. Oh, you said it was really sensitive. So yeah, then we'll go on. We'll go another quick time. So then he comes back from the Army, 1948, Mary's born, 1950, Nancy's born, 1951, Jim's born, 1954, Jack's born. Another one of those, we're not real sure where the dates are. Sometime in the 50s, because Dad remembers this being in diapers, we opened up another Schneider's on Mama Street. I just learned this 2 weeks ago. So
It was a shotgun store. It was real small. It was down there. I don't remember what was all down in that area, but I used to crawl around behind the counters all the time because I was filling papers, and Mom was running the store for Dad. And it's down there for probably a year or two. But I guess he tried to get there was a lot of money down there from things that went on down there, so I guess he was trying to get some of that money, I guess.
the ice cream money.
It's probably, yeah, because I was probably 3, 4, 5 years old. Yeah, I'm trying to remember where exactly it was. Last time that I ever thought about it, drove by, the storefront's gone.
So I don't know what the thing is anymore. That's a long time ago.
So how long did that last? A year maybe?
Probably a year or two.
Not long.
Yeah, not long.
So we're still in the 50s. So that closes back down to just the Schneiders. And then 1964, I know some of you guys know Aunt Kim. Aunt Kim was born, so now there's 7 kids. And what I think is most amazing to me is all of this was back at a time where, women didn't have all the rights that we did now. And Grandma did all this with 7 kids. She ran a candy store with Grandpa with 7 kids, and they all lived on top of a candy store. So on top of us is 2 more floors, and they were all raised up there. So I think it's pretty cool. So that will go to 1986. Grandpa's ready to retire, but she couldn't get a credit card. That's right. But she was good at making candy. So in 1986, Mom and Dad bought the store. I can still remember when you guys bought the store because he was, oh my gosh, you had so many jobs before then. You worked at Miller Crown, right?
I worked at Miller Crown for 9 years.
For 9 years, and then he bought the candy store, and that's when that whole adventure began. Dad had the store for 3 years, and then they decided to open up another Schneider's. So we had a Schneider's out in Alexandria. I don't know if you guys remember that, right across from, is it Bishop Prospect?
Remember where the swimming pool was? Yeah. Where Bibraski, yeah, we were right there. We were there for 3 years. And the reason we left there is because then they changed 27 from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. Nobody could get in there. So our contract came up, I said, well, we're leaving. So I left. I tried to get back in after the highways were done, but could never get back in, but I never followed it. I figured one store was enough. It kept me working 80 hours a week, so.
Well, that was the thing, is he was making everything in Bellevue and then driving everything out to Alexandria.
Right.
We didn't see much.
We actually bought a house between. If I turned left, I turned right on 27, it's the same distance to go to those stores. So she'd go one way in the morning, I get the other way.
So after 3 years, we closed that one down and then decided to do it again. So we opened another Schneider's. I don't know if you guys know this, we opened one in Beachmont Mall. And we were in Beachmont Mall for a year. So we did the whole Ohio thing for 1 year. And same reason, like, it was successful, but then the
It was
Beachmont Mall.
problems with the mall. The mall
Yeah.
didn't want to cooperate. Air conditioning went down. What do we sell? We sell chocolate. They didn't want to fix it. So they came up and said, we'll fix it if you stay. I said, no, you're not putting me in that predicament again. I said, I'm gone. I closed it. And with 1 day, I had everything out of there. They said, well, you gotta be gone quick. So we did 1 day. Jerked everything out of the place.
So now we're just in Bellevue, and we're very happy in Bellevue. And I think one of the special things is that we are in our original location. So not only have we been around for 85 years, it's 85 years in the same location, with all the same equipment, doing things just like Grandpa did. We always joke that it's the coolest part of the business and the worst part of the business. The coolest part is that we use this, really neat equipment that is so old. A lot of it that Grandpa bought new. Some of it he bought used.
I don't think Dad bought anything. He bought freezers for used, refrigerators for used, candy machines for used, everything else was used. But when you go to buy it back then, a $30,000 piece of equipment, and you can buy it for $5,000, which one are you gonna buy? And back then, you're only taking in, what, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 back in the 50s and 60s. That's a lot of money.
And everything is run by like literally gears and some rubber bands and some ribbons. And that's the hard part, is when things do break, I mean, you can't just call somebody to fix it. You need to get pieces welded, you have to get them fabricated. So like I always say, it's the coolest part and the worst part. And then like people will get mad sometimes, they're like, you're out of what we love, but it's not on purpose. It's because that piece might have broken that we need to make that particular piece of candy. And so we have to find somebody to weld us a new little piece to make that machine work. But
It's a good thing she married a gearhead.
yes, Tim is actually very good at that stuff. So he thinks but yeah, so.
It's worth noting that the store was a candy store when we bought it.
Oh, I didn't even tell you that. So let's go back to 1939 again. So it was actually another candy store called Lily's for not even a year. So if you look at, there's a picture up here of Grandma and Grandpa, and you can see in the back it says Lily's. A lot of people think it was Grandma Lil because her name was Lily's. It was not. It was another candy store. They bought that and then turned it into Schneider's Sweet Shop. Before Lily's, it was a bakery. So they actually, if you go into our basement, it's these cool old cast iron ovens where they used to bake the bread. And then across from us, which was Joann's, that's where they sold the bread. So it was made in the bottom of Schneider's and then sold across the street at Joann's. I don't know the name of it, but what the bakery was. Let's go in with
I have
that.
to think.
But we're talking like 35 at this point when all this was going on.
Everything is cooked on dirt floors. Now you have to have all concrete, but back then, we don't ever.
Now there's
I know
coconut
candy
balls.
places back then would make candy on dirt floors. But ours is all concrete.
Secret
not
sauce.
wood. Please.
Tell your story about
No,
Real thick across the street.
yeah, this is before that, yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
We love stories. Yeah. So one of the stories my aunt, so I kind of sent a message to some of our family and I was like, hey, if you have any cool stories, tell us some cool stories. So everyone's been inside Schneider's, so they kind of know. If you walk right in, there's a pole right there. So that used to be where the wall of Schneider's was. So that's all the bigger Schneider's was. It was pretty small. And then Dad actually,
Schneider's was supposed to be closed. Dad wasn't telling anybody.
oh yeah.
And I was sitting at dinner one time and I heard him say, Mom, we're closing in a month. That's when I decided to buy it. But she cut it down so small, I have no idea how he made candy. Because the back room, this is huge. I mean, it wasn't as big as that kitchen. That's when he made all the candy, all the ice cream, all the stuff, and sold it in that little part of the store. But yeah, it almost closed.
Hey, you had the store open while you were renovating. So he was knocking down walls, the store was open, people were
Back
getting
then, you
ice
could get away with
cream.
that stuff.
The store with Grandpa. So Fessler's used to be across the, or Pasquale's used to be across the street from Schneider's. So there were booths inside Schneider's, and Pasquale's was so small that they didn't have any seating. So people would go over, get their pizza, and come over to Schneider's and sit down and eat, and Grandpa would get mad and tell them, like, you cannot eat in here. It's affecting like the quality of our chocolate. So he just removed all the booths and said, no more, I'm done. Apparently Grandpa was wonderful until he was not wonderful. Like, you did not want to make Grandpa mad.
It might be a family.
You're down.
But yeah, so just a couple other stories we can kind of tell that I just think were really interesting. Some of them that I just found out when we were talking about all this. So Trout Dairy, does everybody remember Trout Dairy? So for a long time we got our cream at Trout Dairy before they closed. And this is also pre, you know, when the health department wasn't quite so enforceful as they are now. But you can tell the story because I just think it's funny.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about this.
When you used to stick your fingers in
Yeah,
the cream.
they used to go down there. How they told what was in, you remember the great big 5 or 10 gallon barrels that they used?
That would hold milk and cream.
Yeah,
They
all
were-
milk, cream. Well, they had the refrigerator full of all this. There'd be nobody around, so you walked in, you did your own thing. But I watched them do it too, so I knew I could get away with it. But they would go open up can. Now that's milk. No, that's cream. So I did.
Do not do that.
That got stopped shortly after that.
Are you sure you are health standards?
We get an A every time, I promise, 100%.
It'll be eventually.
Eventually.
I'm trying.
So Grandma left, and then at the time, I had moved to California, so I was living out in California. I decided to move home, so I moved on top of the candy store, and it still looked exactly like it did when Grandma lived there. There was green shag carpet. It was like I had gone back in time. So I kind of fixed it up a little bit. I lived up there for a couple years, and again, we're talking 20 years ago at this point, 20 years ago. And then I moved out. My little sister moved in there for about 2 years. And then Dad decided that he was going to do some renovations, tore out the bathroom, tore out everything. And then we used to make a delicious candy called Kentucky Cream Candy. I don't know if you guys remember that. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. It also causes candy men to ruin their shoulders. So he blew his shoulders out, had to get operations on both of his shoulders. So now it's storage on top of the candy store. So eventually the plan will be to renovate it and get it fixed up. My dream is to use it for private parties, to come up for Schneider's parties and have like ice cream parties, and that's my dream. So we'll see if we get there, but I just think that would be wonderful. Do you want to tell me? Let me tell it real quick. I'll start, then you jump in, obviously. So I'll tell you the story that I heard, and then you can tell me if it's true or not. So the story goes that Grandpa, obviously was the owner. Bob was ready to leave and start his own business. Grandpa said, no, if you want to leave, you're on your own. You don't get, to take any of our recipes. So he left the family business. He bought a company called Bissinger's and turned Bissinger's into Sweet Tooth. So that's actually where Sweet Tooth came from. So while people thought it was all the same recipes, it's all completely different recipes. He had Bissinger's recipes. We have all the original Schneider's recipes. There was a little family. What would you call that? Grandpa almost had a nervous breakdown because he opened a store in Newport. There was some family, but everything was resolved, and after a couple years, it worked out great. There was,
Well, actually, what happened was I got married, and I was still working for Dad, and Bob realized there was not enough money for him to pay me and Bob with the family. So Bob decided to get out. He's like, give the Jack. He says, I'll go ahead and start my own down in Newport. So he started that down in there.
Yeah. But it was fine. You guys used to do stuff together.
Towards the end, we were buying stuff together. I'd buy, because I had a bigger place, so he had a bigger factory, but I had a bigger storage. So I would buy a bunch of stuff, and he would get a lot of his stuff through me.
And so he sold, before I bought the store, before Tim and I bought the store, so I think he sold it in 21. So now there's no affiliation, so there's no family. So honestly, I don't know much about them now. I don't really.
There never was. People think that Sweet Tooth and Schneider's, and also Bill's, which was over there, was all the same, and they weren't. Sweet Tooth and Schneider's. I worked for Sweet Tooth, I worked for Bissinger's, and I worked for Schneider's all at the same time. I made candy for 3 different companies. I did 3 different recipes. So each one had their own recipe. So we've always had our recipes, and it's never been duplicated by anybody.
Yeah, the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did your grandpa
Where there was lilies back then.
live?
Lilies. That's, I think,
The
he had something to do. Papas and lilies are the same thing. And as far as Putman's, no, he didn't work for Putman's because Papas bought Putman's years ago, and that's where they got their claim to opera cream that they had. But that is a different recipe than we got.
Do you guys still use a ball cream beater for the opera?
Oh yes, you have to do that for any cream. We got the old one too. It's noisy. Two of them.
Are you on Facebook?
Yes.
Go to our, or do you follow us on Facebook? I put a video up, I think it was last year, of them actually making the opera cream, and you can actually see the beater,
How old is that?
That piece of equipment was probably before I was born. His coating is chocolate coater. You can't buy parts for it anymore. And that was bought up in New York for $300, I think. And back then they sold for $10,000, $15,000 new. So he got one up in New York and got that and brought it down. But that was the first one, or second one. His first one was a homemade chocolate coater, which is still in the basement. And I can remember him, they did hand dipping by, there was a lady named Stella, and she did all the hand dipping. She sat out in the store, she's a big heavy set woman, and she could fly. She could sit there and do everything by hand, made every bit of candy that they had made was through her. And then he went up and had this machine, I don't know if he had it made or he bought one that was homemade. Never forget it. He'd be somewhere in a belt taking that candy, right in the bucket. Every other batch would go in a bucket, and he threw it away. So he ended up getting this other one, which we ended up getting to work, and it worked fine. So that's the same one that he had that we're using now.
and that's the same one, we're using the I Love Lucy, where they're shoving, we have that exact in Rover. We use the exact one, same everything. We've done one, and last Christmas, Charlie decided to have a Willy Wonka event in Bellevue. And we sold little boxes of candy throughout the avenue, and there were 10 golden ticket winners, and then one grand prize winner that got to do a tour. And the main reason we don't do tours, I mean, one day we'd love to start doing that, mainly it's because of insurance and what you have to carry on insurance in order to be able to do tours. Because our equipment's also old and so delicate, we're just not equipped right now to be able to do tours.
Delicate, but a gear could grab you by the shirt.
Yeah.
Yes, that right there.
And then you don't want to hear us yelling when we're trying to fix it. Because normally he can fix that. There's some stuff that he doesn't fix and some stuff that I have to fix. Like, what, a week ago, there's a wire belt on it. The wire belt's broke twice in 20 years. So I haven't done this in 10 years. So it breaks slow and he's not there. It breaks and I have to fix it. And it just took me like 2 hours and chocolate all over the place. I'm covered with chocolate.
It was so
Yeah.
bad. Can you talk about aqua cream? Is that like a regional thing?
Yeah. Yeah, the only place you'll find aqua cream, if you go up maybe to Dayton, maybe down to Lexington, and not quite up as far as Indianapolis, but yeah, it's a local thing. It's the only place you'll find it in the world. There's other people that say they make an aqua cream. There's a company up in New York, but it's not really an aqua cream. Yeah.
And they say that the idea came up from Putman's, like that's the original
Yeah.
idea where it came from. But nobody really knows 100% for sure because it's all in that same time period. But again, it was created for the opera. So we are actually super excited. We have just started selling opera cream to the opera again. So now if you go to the Cincinnati Opera, you can get a little box of Schneider's opera cream. So we're super excited. The easiest way I would describe it to someone is it is an all-natural cream. There's no additives, there's no flavorings. It's all about the simple ingredients that you put in. It's a very rich, decadent is a word I would describe it. It's a very decadent cream. But especially in this day and age, so many candies have artificial flavorings and all these different colorings. This is just natural. It's cream, sugar.
A lot of them have artificial chocolate.
Yeah.
There's a lot of artificial chocolate out there.
Yeah.
Because regular chocolate now is getting out of hand. Price
Yes. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody knows about this or follows this. There is a major chocolate shortage in the world right now. We actually just went up to Buffalo for a candy convention for a couple of days. It is terrible. There is a major chocolate shortage and it's also driving the prices up. So I don't know if you guys have noticed the cost of chocolate sometimes. Even like if you go get a Kit Kat bar and you're talking about cheap chocolate at a Kit Kat bar, sometimes it's like $4 for a Kit Kat bar and it's just because of the shortage. And we learned a couple different reasons of why. One is obviously with the weather, the crops, they lost some crops. Some of it was, I found this interesting, was child labor. They were cracking down on child labor who harvested a lot of the beans. So this is a good thing. Yes, and it's very hard to argue with that. So we've been trying to bulk up on chocolate, so we don't think it's going to be an issue for us. And Dad and I have talked about this, and this is his philosophy, and this is Tim and I's philosophy. I would rather raise my prices than use cheap chocolate. So I think the one thing is when you come into Schneider's, it's always going to taste the same. It's going to be that delicious chocolate. We could definitely run cheaper chocolate, and we could keep the prices cheap, but it wouldn't taste as good. So if you're going to spend the money and get something that you know is going to be delicious, and you know exactly what it's going to taste like. Every time you bite into that opera cream, you know what you're getting, and we don't ever want to change that flavor, change the quality. But the word on the street is the chocolate shortage should be fixed in 2 years. There's enough crops and things being grown, so hopefully in 2 years it won't be an issue anymore. But you will see us doing a lot more with white chocolate coming up. We're making some, so if you like white chocolate, we've got some fun stuff coming up with white chocolate.
Is this 50 years ago what it is now?
Like what you
Okay.
sell, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's as close as we can get to what they have. There's a few things that you can't get anymore that there's not even made anymore, or they're telling you got to buy 5,000 pounds of it at a time. And that's like we went with our ice ball syrups years ago. I developed our ice ball syrup we got now, but we were using the same one for years. All of a sudden they come up and said you got to buy 200 gallons of every concentrate that's there, and we have 15 flavors. So I got 50,000 pounds.
I think
Concentrate.
you were asking about I think he was asking about actual candies that used to sell and trends and things that sell now.
Differences, the difference.
Like as far as like Kentucky cream candy, that was a very popular candy. We could very easily sell that again. The reason that we don't is simply because it's so hard to make. It's just such a physical candy. But I would say just from me being a kid and you like growing up in it, caramel is something that has gotten really popular.
Yeah.
We do so much caramel and a lot more flavors. Like I feel like when we were younger, we didn't do quite as much. I mean, caramel's always been a Schneider specialty with the caramel apples and things like that. But as far as just buying like cut caramels, even chocolate coated, so like we started doing black raspberry caramel. We've done salted caramel. So we've definitely grown our caramel.
Tell them how the black raspberry started.
Oh yeah, black raspberry was totally an accident. Dad was making caramel and making cherry caramel, grabbed the wrong flavoring to make the caramel. And he's like, oh man, I made it, just throw it away. We're like, just see what happens. And Tim goes, this is the best thing I've ever had. He's like, we're keeping this. So sometimes the happy accidents make the best new candy.
When did you buy the building next door that turned into the Athens, which is really nice?
Oh, what year? 14? 14.
Was that
Yeah, that was, I don't remember her name now. I tried to buy it years ago, couldn't get it. We were out of space. I mean, we were literally out of space in that building. So I had to do something. Yeah, we doubled our capacity because of that back room. Plus we put the patio out there for people to sit on. That was the best thing I ever did that.
So he worked for Pappas, right? So he learned how to make candy at Pappas. So that's where he got his, craft from. And then when he started Schneider's, he just kind of created his own recipes, which, we have more candy than obviously when Grandpa started. And that's just because Dad created them. Dad created recipes. So it's just kind of playing with different greens. And the one thing I think Tim and I were super surprised about is the science behind candy making. Like it's actually a science. And it's fun to watch.
It's a science. It's like watching your mom cook. There's measurements, but a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit. He'll get mad at the heck at me because I'm teaching him how to make candy. And I'll just throw a little bit of that in there, that'll be fine. I want the exact thing. But I do everything by a little bit, and it comes out the way you want it.
Yeah.
What made you decide buying
Here. Honestly, just because I knew, so Mom and Dad were getting to the point, we had talked about a little bit about them wanting to retire. We talked about it a little bit, we weren't real sure. I had a great job, Tim had a great job, we were happy. We're like, do we really want to work, 10 times harder than we do now and make a whole lot less money? And then COVID hit. And I think COVID was really hard on you guys.
Yeah, you backed out.
I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And then as COVID kind of came to an end, they were kind of done. And they're like, look, we're closing. So if you guys don't buy it, we're going to put it up for sale, let somebody buy it. And Tim and I talked about it. We're like, this is our family. And if we can't let it die. Like, this is so special. Like, we're going to do it. So Yeah.
There's a candy company over in Cincinnati on the right-hand side, and that's the company that was going to buy it. We had already talked to them about working some things out. And when she popped up, I was glad that we would keep it in the family. Because if somebody else buys it, it's going to change.
Yeah.
People,
Is it fun?
no. No, they back this up, right?
Oh my gosh. Who was like, yeah. Yay! Yeah. I'm so glad. Oh yeah, milk or dark. Are you a milk or a dark?
I can do either one.
Yeah, that's the way there's certain candies, so like my turtles, I want them milk. My opera cream, I want them dark. There's certain candies I like in different chocolates. We've talked about this. Things with nuts, oh, I like them milk. But there's people that are hardcore, like they want their dark chocolate, they want their milk chocolate. It's really funny.
There's a comment about the service. I went in there around Christmas time to buy a box. I asked for a variety box. I figured he'd grab a box off the shelf and hand me, but one of the young men working there put on gloves, took an empty box, and went back to apparently hand-filled the box and brought it out. And then they wrapped it, of course, but I thought that wasn't just 3 pair of boxes, here you go.
Yeah, I appreciate that's one thing that we try, because we live in a world now where it's grab and go, and we obviously have a lot of grab and go stuff. Like you can come in the store and you can grab a box of nonpareils, you don't have to wait. But I feel like that world where you can come in and get catered to and create your box. Like we want you to come into Schneider's and feel like you step back in time. Like you can come up to the counter and the thing I think one of the things I'm most proud of is our staff. I just feel like they always have a smile on their face. So that's our one rule. Like, you know, if you work at Schneider's, you have to have fun. You have to have a smile on your face. When you go in the back, you can be upset, but when you come up the front, it's Disney World, man. You put a smile on your face. We're so thankful that you guys are here. They're thankful that you guys are here. So, yeah, when you come in, we want you to feel like you step back in time for a minute. Oh, Charlene.
Do you ship your stuff?
We do.
You go to the website and...
Yep, so if you go on the website, it is shut down right now, and that's only because the weather is so hot. We can ship with ice packs and we can do things, but there's still just no guarantee that it can make it. Because all the ice packs we found, the longest we can have one hold is 2 days. So we just shut the website down. If you call, we can actually tell you that, and we can say, hey, you know, we're happy to ship this for you, but it might melt. Some people are like, yeah, we don't care.
Fall or...
Yes, we'll hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have it back up by August.
Okay.
You had to an extent because it was beet sugar. And beet sugar cooks different than regular sugar. Don't ask me how to do it, I don't know. But my dad was a candy person. I mean, he made a dry fudge that he was going to sell. It was completely dry, you added water to it at home. And he never got it out, but he had the recipe for it. And then when I took it over, I was using that recipe, which is the same recipe except it's cooked a little different that we do now. So we could have cooked the same thing we got at home with just adding water thrown in, however he did it. He would experiment with a lot of stuff. He taught me a lot when I was growing up.
He did it once and said, I'll never do that again.
When I first took over the store, several years down the road, I thought I'd give the kids something special. So I made the red candy apples. We made 650. Gave away in an hour. In an hour. But people were, what made me mad, it was people from Cincinnati, people from everywhere else were coming over. We had people, they sent their kids in, put them back in the van, change their clothes, and send them back. I wanted to treat everybody in our area that always buys our candy, I wanted to treat the kids to something. But when everybody else took advantage of it, I never did it again.
That's the thing. A lot of things are seasonal. So like peanut brittle. Our peanut brittle is kind of amazing. Thank you guys for the wonderful recipe. But it is very seasonal. Humidity makes such a difference in a lot of the candy, especially like the candied apples. Anything with that candy, the minute the humidity hits it, it's just going to turn to sugar. So the weather has to be perfect. So like at fall time, we start caramel apples. People always ask, when do you start? Well, it's not really our choice. It's when the farm calls us and says the apples are ready. So we get them, we drive up to the farm, we get them straight from the farm, we bring them back. So we'll start caramel apples the minute they tell us they're ready. And then the candy apples, we have to wait until the humidity's gone. It has to be below 80 for what, about a week?
Below 80, cool weather, below 80.
Before we can make it. Otherwise, it will literally turn to sugar. So it's pretty wild how, so some people are like, why don't you do it? There's a reason behind it. It's not just because we don't feel like making it. The other question we get all the time is ice balls year round. Why don't you do ice balls year round? The main reason is space. We just don't have the space. So during the summertime, we are a candy and ice ball store, or ice cream and ice ball store. You come in, you get your ice cream, you get your ice balls, a little candy here and there. But as soon as that weather turns, we turn into a candy store. You know, we start making the Christmas candy, then we go right into Valentine's Day, we go right into Easter. So we make candy probably 3 to 4 days a week, starting in September. And it takes about 9 hours to do a run. So 3 to 4 days a week, 9 hours a day. Just making candy. That doesn't include like fudge. That's just running the actual chocolate coater. Yeah, that's not like that's strictly coating the candy in chocolate. And so just that space, we need all that space. So we have to pull the ice balls just to have space for all of that.
She still makes a lot in the summertime because she keeps calling me and saying, I want to run candy. So I'm still down there. I'm supposed to be retired on vacation. I'm down there.
So Dad still makes all the candy with us. Tim is learning how to make it, and then my nephew, my older sister's son, fourth generation, are making the candy. So they're learning how to make the candy. And that's the coolest part too about it still being a family business, is Dad's literally there for all the runs. So nothing's changed. Like everything has been the same, and it's just you. And he'll tell us when we do things wrong. Don't you worry. He'll be like, so he's very hard on us when we make candy, but that's what we need because we don't want it to change. We want to make sure we're making it right and making you proud, honestly. Yeah?
Do you know how long your grandfather, Bob Schneider, worked for Lily's?
Well, Lily's was only around for...
He probably worked for him for a couple of years
Yeah.
because once he bought the store, he didn't work for him. He helped Lily. There's a lot of equipment that they got in there that he helped develop. I mean, their automation that they got. So he was down there.
But not the one in Bellevue. He was in the one in Bellevue is really weird. Nobody really talks about the one in Bellevue because it was there for such a short amount of time. It's the main Lily's that he worked at.
The story I got was that Chris Duff's son worked at that store. And he said, I don't want to do this anymore. And so that's how your grandfather got the store.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just, I guess he ran it to I don't know how long.
Original Mr. Pappas apparently loved Grandpa.
Yeah.
Like that was one of his proteges was his grandpa.
Yeah, that's why he went the dad in offering the business. Because he knew that Dad eventually wanted to get out. But yeah, he was probably there. If I had to guess, because he was 18, he was riding motorcycles in flood, or not motorcycles, bicycles in flood. He was in the radio. He did a lot of that old radio stuff. And then he started working over there. And so I'm guessing it's a couple of years that he did that. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like, we try to find out as much information as we can in that time period, but you're so much younger than all your brothers and sisters, so...
Well, you know how families are. When your families are first together and everybody's young, everybody's doing that stuff together. When they get older, they're kind of spread apart. So I'm in the older group. So by that time, we still seen aunts and uncles and all that, but you didn't see them that much. You didn't talk about this that much. In fact, it was funerals, it was weddings, that type of stuff. So in there you can't talk. So I really didn't catch a whole lot before me. My sister actually, my younger sister knows more because she always talked to Mom about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to ask, have you seen a big impact on, is it First Friday that Bellevue does? How is the
Yes.
city about your, supporting your business?
Wonderful. I would say all the events. First Friday is great, but they do so many events in Bellevue now. And just like the avenue is, I can remember when we were a kid, there was nothing in Bellevue. Like you came to Bellevue, it was us, it was the Squallies, it was the jewelry store, and a couple little places here and there. And just over the years, they have just turned Bellevue into the coolest town. Like it's such a destination place. And so, they do these First Fridays, which are great, but then they do like the summer bucket lists. Like you can come out summer and do all these fun events. The marketing director, Melissa, is always coming up with these cool, fun things to do. The Willy Wonka. Taylor Swift. Oh my gosh, when Taylor Swift came, people were like, what, you're doing something for Taylor Swift? Oh my gosh, if you came to Bellevue doing the Taylor Swift, so they turned Swift Avenue, or Taylor Avenue in Bellevue into Taylor Swift Avenue, and they put up big pink signs. People went crazy. Like all these girls were standing underneath the signs getting their pictures taken. When the Barbie movie came out, they had a Barbie box, which Charlie actually made the Barbie box in his garage. We just took it around all the different businesses, and people would come down just to get their pictures taken. It was so cool. So yeah, Bellevue is wonderful about supporting, you know, the community, and everybody takes care of each other. Like the people that are from Bellevue know that. You know, it's Schneider's is special, and part of the reason Schneider's is so special is because it's in such an awesome community as well. I mean, you just don't find a lot of communities where you can walk up and down an avenue and every place you go to is a mom and pop shop. You're not going into Target, you're not going into these, you know, corporate businesses. And 9 times out of 10, when you do go in, you're talking to the owner. You know, that's who's running all these businesses. So, you know, every dollar you spend is going straight to them and their family and supporting that business. You know, you're not sending it to some CEO who lives, you know, in California. So, like, every dollar you spend helps keep our son in school. So thank you.
And I'll add to that. I'm not originally from here, but Bellevue is a gem in the Cincinnati, greater Cincinnati area. It really is. It's walkable.
Yeah.
You can always find a place to park. You might have to walk a block, but you can always find a place to park. Someone's panhandling you. You know, it's just, it is such a great community. But don't tell me.
I love your ice balls. They're so good.
I love it. The secret to why our ice balls are so good is a lot of places that do try to make ice balls and snowies and things, they use bagged ice. We make our own ice. So we have a triple distiller, purifier, filter. So we make all our own ice. We freeze it in big blocks. And so yeah, so we make our own ice. We make the ice cream, we make the ice ball syrup. So everything is literally homemade when it comes to the ice balls. Yes, that's fun. What's that? Yeah. It is.
There's only one.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Schneider.
We had a guy throw a hat away in front of the
This gentleman up here is from Bellevue, and I saw him on the avenue with a grader's hat on, and I was like, "Excuse me, sir," and he took it and he threw it in the garbage can, so I went and got him a Schneider's hat. Oh, please share.
Our family, again, had his office and my grandfather across the street.
Okay.
And so we grew up starting in the 50s, right across the street. We'd come down to the office, but of course we all had to go over to Schneider's to get some candy. My grandfather was probably one of your biggest purchasers at the time, from the 50s to 70s and now. Because we always would find his candy and his licorice. You didn't mention anything about licorice. Do you still make?
We do. So we make a licorice caramel, which is, yeah, so if you're a fan of black licorice, it's a black licorice caramel. Let's see if we learned something new.
And my aunt worked there. She lived across the street at the time. She just passed.
Yeah, see, that's what makes it so amazing and so worth it, and why we bought the store, so that.
I ended up knowing Jack and Candy too.
Yeah. For a long time.
Long time. Nice people.
We like them.
What most people don't know is when he first took it over, there used to be where that concrete back end is, there used to be a 2-car garage back there. That's where he made all his candy, a 2-car garage. The doors would be open, the kids would come home from school, they'd be walking down there, and he'd hand them all candy as they're walking down. Out the door, all fresh candy just being made. Then he built it and then that building was dilapidated and falling down when he bought it. So that's been completely rebuilt, restructured, with steel all through it and everything. It doesn't look like it, but.
Oh, I do. I have a picture of what the building looks like. There's a couple cute little things up there.
Let's see.
Oh, yes. So if you guys want to see, that's Schneider's when Grandpa bought it. So you're welcome to get that. Actually, that's 1946, so that's what it is.
And there was a hurricane back then, I took the roof of it off, did a couple of it, 1915.
So Tim, as an outsider, what fact totally blew you away? What should we know when you go like, really?
Honestly, it's a fun business. I mean, coming from the corporate world, it's a lot more work for a lot less pay, but it is so much more fun. There's a lot less stress. And you know, now we say the worst part of family business is the family. And that's only true part of the And Bellevue's awesome. Bellevue is such a great community. You're always safe. I forget to lock my car never lock my car. You know, I mean,
Now they all know.
yeah, there's nothing in there anyway. But, you know, I mean, it's just, we have cameras out, you know, outside the building. There's nothing to see. You know, nothing, it's just such a great community. It's not full of nightclubs and it doesn't have the things that draw in, you know, the bad actors. It's just, it's a cool business and it's fun. You know, anybody who's working in the corporate world, you gotta drag yourself out of that. It's not like that, you're all big candies. Let's go.
And we generally like what we make. Like, we're very proud of what we make. I brought him, I'm gonna tell the story.
How much candy did you guys eat?
I brought him a pound box of turtles once. Just brought it home and I left it in the counter and I came back and I'm like, where did that box go? And Tim goes, oh, I ate them. I'm like, you ate a pound of turtles? He's like, what? It was good.
You will wake up so hungover. But there were 3 left and I'm like, well, I went almost all the way.
But I think to like, to own your own business, be proud of what you make, you know, carry on your family traditions. It's special and it's, you know, we're very fortunate to be able to do it. You know, we had the opportunity and we're very thankful that we got the opportunity to do it.
And it's amazing to have conversations like, I can't wear Schneider's clothing if I'm going to Lowe's or Home Depot because people will stop me and start telling me stories. And I'll come home from Home Depot 4 hours later and it's like, what'd you get? I'm like, 2 2x4.
Does anybody else have any questions? Yeah.
So you have this future vision for the upstairs being like a party space. Is part of your future fantasy vision anything that includes like a window where people can see in and see where you're making, how the process is happening, where you're making the chocolate?
That's difficult in the space we're in.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the reason we don't get tours is because every single inch of that building is used for something all day long and never the same thing. We're always changing. You know, you've got caramel, you're making bark, you're always doing something all over. And when you're making candy, you're going. And unfortunately, the way that building's laid out, I don't know of an easy way to do that. It's just so hard. You know, and that's a serious, you know, the fastest way if we wanted to grow the business would be to move. But when you move, you change some of that, you know, and losing that, the fear of losing that is a bigger risk. It started in that building, and that building just will always be part of the DNA of everything that you taste out of there. And I genuinely think because the equipment we use, the processes, the building, you're going to buy new equipment. That new equipment will not make a turtle look like the turtles we make today. You know, we buy the mountain rails, they're perfectly round, we're made by the machine. You know, we're dropping the funnel and the sticks, everything like and
One thing we are trying to do though is do more on social media, share more videos, and show more like how we do things. So that way you can see that, you know, we're not buying nonpareils that are like, we're actually taking up the funnel and stick and hand dropping every single one. So I think that's the easiest way right now for us to kind of show people.
Well, when I saw that video, I went, no way. Really? I mean, they're, you know.
you saw the one where we had
we raised
the race.
Literally, a funnel full of chocolate. It's big, and she lost the whole. And they're, and I looked at it like,
Well, the nonpareils are pretty easy. The turtles are hard because you're still dropping it with a funnel. So you're holding the funnel, you're holding the stick, but
It's also
300 degrees. So you've got a big glove holding that stuff.
Candy making is a skill. It really is. It's a craft.
there's an art to get the timing right or it's too big.
His dexterity is amazing. I mean, to hand decorate things as they're going down the line and be quick about it, as you saw yesterday.
If you get any raspberry truffles that look like they have question marks instead of R's, it's because Tim was learning how to put R's on them.
He's learning. Or I get corporate berries that are this big.
I eat those myself.
Yeah.
Do you guys have culinary training or or on the job?
On the job.
Kind of grew up.
I got culinary training. Right there.
Yeah. I learned everything I learned from Dad. No, they're learning everything they're learning from me.
But we all worked in the.
Yeah, my background is all hospitality. So I worked at the California for a hot minute. I was doing some stuff out there. But I always did hospitality. So it was always, I've always had my hand out, which this is pretty much the same thing. We're just doing, you know, candy and ice cream instead of burgers and fries.
But if you really want a tour, just commit to come work 30 hours a month. And we'll put you away. You'll know more than you ever wanted to about the candy bit.
Are you worried about your own success?
Are we worried? Oh, of course. Every day.
I drive by and I'm like, look at your crushed. Look at that.
We gotta finish those for you.
You know,
But we also have a small store. So it looks a lot more dramatic when there's a line down the street than if you were in Graders, that same amount of people, you wouldn't even notice.
We are amazed and thankful every single day to have the business that we do. Like when you drive down, one of us is pretty much there every single night. And that's because at the end of the day, our staff are teenagers or young adults, and it's a lot of pressure on them. And it can be a little overwhelming sometimes when you have, you know, crowds out the door and they start to get frustrated. We come down and remind them, hey, this is why we're alive. This is why we're here. So we're very thankful and very proud of
Just ask them what their friends do for work, and then they remind themselves that, oh,
yeah.
I'm not out there
Ice
on
cream.
TV right now. Working in the landscape crew, yeah.
And then this year, we actually won Best Candy Store in Cincinnati. That was pretty good. So, yeah. But, I mean, while we don't plan on changing anything of what makes Schneider Schneider, we definitely want to grow it. We're always trying to come up with new candies. We're very into partnering right now, so we just partnered with a coffee shop. We have a new espresso bar, and we want to have fun. So we're trying to come up with some fun new things. We're doing an ice cream series right now. We're just making some crazy, funky, fun ice creams, and they're selling so, like, I'm amazed. And we do funny names for them, because it's so funny to, like, have people come in and ask for the Elvis. I'm like, you read my post. Like, it's cool to see that, like, people, the Elvis was fabulous. Oh my gosh, that Elvis was so nice.
Social media has changed the business.
It is definitely.
It to our benefit.
And what, was it banana ice cream?
Yes, so it was our banana ice cream with chunks of peanut butter, or peanut butter cream. So right now the one we have is, we didn't even name this one because it's just so good. This is just chocolate with peanut butter chunks. So it's homemade chocolate ice cream with chunks of the peanut butter cream. And I can tell you what the next one will be. I haven't released it yet, but it's already made. It's blueberry ice cream with pieces of our chocolate covered Oreos, and we're calling it Cookie Monster. So just some more fun things like that. Like we just want people to come in and be like, oh, that's so cute, that's so fun, you know.
So if you do a small batch, so the Cookie Monster, is that 20 gallons? Is that 10? Oh, 10.
Yep, okay. Yeah. Oh, no, what am I talking about? 5. It's 5 gallons, because we do, every batch of ice cream we make, it is done in 5 gallons. So we'll get 2.5 batches. So when we say small batch, we make them small batch. So in the summertime, we make ice cream every day, all day. So like Brady and myself make all the ice cream, and then Dad, when we can talk them into coming down. But we'll start at 9 o'clock in the morning and make ice cream till 3 all day. And then pretty much, I'd say 4 to 5 days a week in the summer. And that's just because everything is so small batch. And what's special about that too is you're always getting fresh ice cream. So you're not getting anything that's sitting around, because when it's that small, you go through it so much faster. So everything you get is probably been made within 48 hours.
And she used an ice cream machine that's about 1930s. It's the old, it's been converted, it's been redone, it's been rebuilt as far as what me and my dad could do. But it's ancient, but it's a workhorse.
And the company that made it was forced to stop making this equipment to build bombs for the war. The only other one I can find of it is in the Smithsonian. And one of the Smithsonians in way better shape than ours.
What's cool is Tim's such a gearhead, and his biggest thing is he came in and he was like, let me look into this. So he knows so much about all of our equipment, and he's like called Savage Brothers and called all these places. He went to Chicago to see like where our cooker was, and the guy's like, yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm like,
So yeah, that was from 1914. My parents were alive.
So it's kind of neat that Tim knows so much about
I like it.
Yeah. Are you making peach ice cream?
We are. So the reason our peach ice cream is so good is we are so picky about our peaches. We take turns going into grocery stores and we try the peaches and we're like, not good, not good. So we haven't found peaches yet that we like enough to make ice cream with. So like Dad taught me that. Like, it's so you go out, you sit in your car outside the Whole Foods, you eat a peach, and then like, nope, you go to the next store. And so,
If it's good, you go and buy it.
right now, yep. So we just haven't found the peaches yet. We just had some the other night. Yeah, so once those peaches are perfect, we'll have it. But, so what's one thing with everything we make is we don't use flavoring, so like our peach ice cream is made with peaches. Or, you know, our black raspberry ice cream is actually black raspberries, so we get everything from the farm, we use everything fresh. Our banana ice cream, we take bananas and we puree them and we squeeze them and we put them in there, so you're not getting things that have flavors, you're getting things that are actually made with that fresh product. I don't even know what you're talking about. Does everybody like their candy? Please come in and share your stories with us. Share them on social. That's my favorite, especially when people post things on like social media and they tag us and they share stories. We love stories. We love hearing that. Like that. Those are literally what keep us going sometimes. After, you know, working 80 hours at a candy store and we're like, why did we do this? Then you hear these stories and you're like, this is why we did this. This is why we did it. It's, you know, it's something that we can, Hayden's only 5, so we might have Schneider's going for a really long time. But yeah, that's what's...
I warned you.
But this is our 85th anniversary this year. So Tim and I's goal between the two of us is to take it to 100. And then after 100, maybe you're Brady. Brady's up to that.
We know to stay in the family for another length of time because he's young and he'll be there for, he's like 23.
Yeah.
So he's going to be there for a long time. I never dreamt this guy would like to make candy, but he's good at it. Very good. That's my grandson.
And again, if you follow us on Facebook, I put a picture of Grandpa, Dad, and Brady, and it's like they're the same person. They look so much alike. It is so funny. Like all three of them.
He's got hair.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really cool. So it's just kind of like the Schneider's men who make candy, and they all just kind of look alike. Oh yeah, me. Oh, the third. Yeah. So, and that was kind of cool for me too. It's honestly, this is gonna, I don't know how this is gonna come out, but to be a woman in a business that is very man-oriented is really special for me. So, you know, a lot of the candy stores, there's not a lot of women-owned businesses in the candy world. So, it's pretty cool. But I don't do it by myself. I have Tim with me. He does a lot of work. So.
She babysits.
She has our son.
You have a little kid.
Our entire life is divided by
Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to share or tell us? Or?
We're just glad you're still there.
Yeah.
How many people here grew up in Bellevue?
I ran the streets, I know all the streets.
I remember Stella.
Stella?
I used to go in and watch Stella all the time. I lived right up the street from you on Foot Avenue.
Oh, okay.
And I used to go in and watch Stella.
That woman, I've never seen anybody fly like she did.
She did, yep.
Yeah. She would work all day long over at Pappas doing her hand dipping. Because there's not that many hand dippers out there. But she would work all day there. We'd go and pick her up at 4 o'clock. She'd work all night at our place. So she dipped for 12 hours a day.
So every piece of cream, she would hand dip in chocolate and put it on a tray.
And put the special little curl on the top to identify what candy that.
Still do that. So she did it all one time.
She did it.
And every piece of candy back then was also cut by hand. Because they ever sit in the back room and cut all the little pieces. We got machines now, which are ancient machines, that cut the candy so we can do it 10 times faster than they could. It's actually a cookie cutter. That's the word.
It's 50s, 40s?
Oh,
50s, yeah, our candy cutters are 50s.
I think so.
Yeah, so you guys have any questions or anything? Yeah.
I remember you. Bob, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn good, get out of the way.
Is that our fault?
Is that our fault?
Is that our fault? Oh, okay,
So we don't make our sugar-free. We make all the stuff with the good sugar in it, but we carry it because there are a lot of people that want to have the sugar-free option. Mom and Dad did a taste test of sugar-free candy to find the best on the market.
Oh, God.
I don't know if you know about sugar-free candy, is it has a lot of like effects. Poor Mom and Dad ate pounds and pounds of sugar-free candy to get the delicious sugar-free candy that we have now. So.
doesn't have that.
But we carry sugar-free candy, and then in the ice cream we carry the non-dairy, sugar-free, and then yogurt. And again, we don't make those, but we carry them just so we have those options for those people that would like that. But we make everything with all the actual ice cream we do. Yep, that we make. We do make those here. Yeah. So do you guys have any? Oh, yeah.
My mom worked there in the 30s.
She did.
Who was
Eva Gimmer.
I remember Eva, them talking about it.
Yes. Okay. So we just saw something with her name on it. 'Cause we've been going through stuff. Over here, I have some cool old. What do they call it? The payroll records. So she might have been in one of those, but I have they're in very rough shape. I apologize, but they're from like the 40s and 50s. But those are over here, and I'm pretty sure her name was in one of those. So we'll have to look for it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Because the kindergarten was not a St. Anthony, you had to go to Bellevue on Center Street. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was in there.
Yes, and you gotta figure at that time too, Uncle Bob owned a candy store too. So at Christmas time, and for the Schneider family, you'd have all the Schneider's candy, you'd have all Sweet Tooth's candy. And Tim always jokes that he's like, you people eat like Buddy the Elf. He's like, all you guys have is candy. It's just like, there's always a plethora of candy at our house. Oh, still, yeah.
Well, that was one of the hardest things I had training her, is how to decorate and how to write the names on it and that kind of stuff. She picked it up good.
Well, and then speaking of how like times change and things like that, so with the eggs, the one thing we had to change for 80 years they were in cursive. I had to learn how to make them not in cursive because people don't know how to read cursive anymore. So I had to learn to hand print with icing so that kids could read their names.
It went off. I know.
And the shapes, yep, we still do all that.
Let me just call you.
Yeah, we still have all that.
I know.
Well, thank you guys so much. We can't thank you enough for your time, for being here. It really means a lot. We're truly very grateful. If everybody enjoyed their candy, please check out the pictures if you want to see the pictures. We're going to try to find your mom's stuff. I'll help you find that. But yeah, thank you guys very much. Take home any extra candy. You can stick it in your purse or your bag. Take it all home with you.